Welcome back. If you're here, I hope you've seen the previous video, which was the demo of how the RocketFlag console works and how to set up a flag and how to get going. In this video, I'm going to talk about cohorts and how to use cohorts to enable flags just for specific users. So I hope you are ready because we're going to get into it right away. No faffing about. So back in the RocketFlag console, we've got the demo project back here. And what we'll do this time is we will set up a flag. And I've renamed flag 2 to call it cohort flag for this particular example. And what we'll do is we'll set up a cohort, which is just a user account. But this can be anything you want it to be for. So if you've got specific types of cohorts you want it to return for, or whatever that may be, that identifier may be, you can include that here. So this could be things like groups. If you've got a group that a user is part of and that's somehow available to your application, you may include that in there like a cookie or something that they're part of certain groups. So you could put a group as a cohort in here. Basically all it is a value that you can put in here and it will just do a match based on a query string. And if the query string is in the request, it will get compared. If it's there and there's a match, it'll continue on its evaluation process on determining whether or not to show that flag. What is a query string? A query string is a value that is included as part of a URL with a key and a value. So I'll show you how that works in just a second. But first, let's set up a cohort. So this is our cohort flag. What we'll do is we'll drag the slider over to 100% because we want to enable it for everyone in the cohort. And we will set our user, in this case I'll just use user at example.com. So we'll save that in and close that. So now what we can see is we've got this cohort flag and it's turned on. And if you have a lot of flags and they're all turned on, sometimes it's not easy to see straight away which flag is only enabled for certain people. So I've got this little identifier here called cohorts. So it'll just tell you that the flag's enabled, so you're good to go. But it's only for users in the cohort that's specified. So at any time you can just click on this details here, and it'll tell you here in this list who's in the cohort. And if we want to see the flag in action, all we have to do is grab the URL like this and copy that flag URL. And then if we just open up a new tab, then you'll see that there's a flag that comes back and it's straight away false. The reason why it's false is that even though our flag traffic is set to 100%, when we make the query to the API to get the flag, we're not actually including the cohort. So we're always going to get false. We need to tell our API that we are wanting to retrieve a flag and we want to provide it with a cohort so it can do the match. So if we have a look back in here again, we include the cohort query string, which if we go cohort equals user at example.com and we paste that, what happens is the API validates that the cohort query has been provided and that the email address or the user identifier is present. When it has that match, it can go, okay, the traffic's at 100%, so I don't need to throw the dice. The user is matching what's stored on our system, so this person is allowed to see this flag. And that's how cohorts work in a nutshell. Why is this useful? If you're wanting to release code all the time and your developers are constantly pushing code and you want to only turn features on for, say, your product manager or the CTO or CEO or marketing department only or something like that, certain specific subset of users, or maybe you've got some beta testers and you want to let them try it out first, you can provide cohorts to your flags to only turn it on for certain users. So that's the power of a cohort. There's no limits on cohorts at the moment. There might be in the future when I realize the limitations of the system. But right now, you can put in this box as many as you want. So if I've got another user, I just need to do a comma separated list of identifiers. So in this case, email addresses, but I just do user@example.com, put a little comma in there and go user2@example.com. Now, before I save this, I'm just going to demonstrate. If we go here and we change this to user2@example.com, we haven't saved it yet. So this is going to give us a false flag response. If we go back to the console and we press save, the cohort flag's been updated. So we've got user and user2 in our cohorts. We can go back here and we can see that multiple users now get this flag. If you want to roll the dice for your users as well, you can do that. I'm not quite sure of the use case of that yet, but it is available. So what you could do here is you could say, okay, there's a 50% chance that users in the cohort are going to get this flag as a truth response. So if I save that, straight away the traffic drops to 50, and we go back to our request here. If I hit refresh a few times, getting true, getting false, getting true, false, true, false. So each time the dice is being thrown, and there's a chance that it'll be true, there's a chance it'll be false for those in the cohort. If I don't provide a cohort, even though the traffic's at 50%, I'm always getting false, always. There's no chance that I'm going to get true. It'll always be false because the cohort doesn't match. And so as soon as there's no match in the cohort, we're going to get false. If you're done with that flag, you can always go back in, take out your cohort, and when you save, when the flag is evaluated by RocketFlag, it will check, are there cohorts? It will see that there's no cohorts, and so it will continue on. So if we go back now to this, there's now a 50% chance that every single user will see the flag. So one refresh will get me true, and if I keep refreshing, false, 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 true, false, 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 true, true, false. So you'll see that there's a 50% chance that it works. We'll leave it there for cohorts. Thank you.